Pay attention to your feelings of envy. Envy is a good indication about what it is that you want. True, when you're feeling envy, it's that you're watching something you want that you don't think you can have, but it's still you looking at something you want. Pay attention in your environment, in your world, for those people who look the most happy to you. That's also an indication of what stands out as your definition of wanting. Your definition of what it is that would pull you the most in line with what you want. When you don't know what you want, you can find your life in a kind of stalemate. I'm not really moving because I don't know whether I want that or that or that, and I don't really feel inspired towards anything. Ironically enough, this is a good time to take some kind of action. The universe is not worried about you getting it wrong because you can't. And at least taking an action, jumping at an opportunity that at least feels a little bit good or a little bit right, is at least energy moving. And once you get that energy moving in the right direction, in any direction, you will be able to have it become much more clear what it is you don't like and like. So if you think that you want a new job, if it feels good to go look for a new job, go look for a new job and take one. Once you're in that new job, you'll have a more accurate idea about whether you actually want that kind of job or not. And that gets you closer to what you want. Don't get yourself wrapped up in the idea of mistakes. You really can't make a mistake here on this planet, because everything is ever evolving. There is nothing that you can't change. So if you make a decision that you decide you don't like down the road, you can shift that this quick. Trying something is very beneficial for you to finding out what it is you actually want and don't want. You must allow yourself throughout your life to ask yourself the question, what do I want, and allow the answer to change. We are ever evolving on this planet and every planet. We are always changing. We are always becoming more. This universe was designed for expansion. So what you want one day may not be what you want the next, and that has to be okay if you want to live a happy life. We can't ever see the finish line. That's because the finish line never stays in one place. And this is the way that the universe wanted it. As we walk through our lives making decisions and flowing energy towards that which we want, when we achieve our various goals, the finish line keeps moving. Every time we take a step towards the end goal, it moves further and further away. So let that be okay. You will never get it done here, and you can't get it wrong. Source does not stand in a space of perfection that you are now trying to catch up to. You are telling it through every experience that you're living what to become. You are causing the expansion. You're doing this whether you are conscious about it or not. You really can't get it wrong. The reason we want you to find out what you want is not because there's some purpose you're meant to fulfill, and if not, all is for naught. It's because we get more expansion out of you following your joy. When you follow your joy and you figure out what it is what you want and you line up with it and you get it, you are in a new point of perspective. So more expansion can come out of those people who line up with what they want than those who never find out what they want. But expansion comes out of them, inevitably. So many of you know that I constantly tell people that the how in this universe is not your job. When you're going about saying things like, I want love, but love must come through this person named Brad or this person named Christine, you are disabling the universe because you're telling the universe how that thing you want will come to you. What if I was to take this a step further and tell you that even saying I want love or I want money is a how? The reason is this. There is not one thing on this earth that's not done for the same reason, and that reason is I want to feel happy. I want to feel better. Now what if you made that the end goal? What if that's really the I want and everything else is just a how? What if the universe knows better for you than you do how your happiness is going to come to you? Why are we so afraid of that? How often is it that you meet people and you ask them what they really want in life and they look at you and they say, happiness? It's kind of an inevitable. Of course everyone wants happiness. So why is it we're so afraid of making that the end goal? That thing which we're really aiming for? It's because we're all pretty convinced that if we say, I want happiness above all else, the universe will make us very, very happy, but very, very poor. Very, very happy, but very, very alone. The universe knows you so much better than that. That implies a level of distrust which is not in tandem with alignment with this universe. If you say, I want happiness, this universe knows every single necessary condition to bring you to that space. Now, happiness to most of you does not look like, I am poor or I am alone. It looks like abundance and a multitude of people which you get along with. When you make happiness your goal, you are not limiting the universe as to how to bring that to you. And it will bring it to you in a way that satisfies all kinds of things in your life which you are looking at now and calling happiness. To say, all I really want in this life is to be happy, sounds like a common sense answer. But as a life goal, it sort of sounds like it's destined for failure. But I'm here to tell you today that this goal is the goal which will enable all necessary conditions of your life to fall into place. This goal is the Holy Grail. So try this next time you're doing your visualizations for what it is you do want. Instead of visualizing how those things will come to you, visualizing yourself in that big house with tons and tons of money, visualizing what it would feel like to have people accept you the way you are, I want you to visualize what it would feel like for you to be really happy. If this means remembering a time when you were, then do that. Put yourself in the feeling space of being really, really happy, and see how the universe knocks itself out to deliver those things to you. Over the years, many spiritual traditions have made an enemy of desire. If you look at these particular spiritual traditions, they were formed in countries where there was a caste system. They were formed in countries where when you were born into specific circumstances, there was no way to change your stars. And when that kind of a collective cultural belief begins to percolate, it becomes 10 times easier to make an enemy of desire, or to try to tell yourself that what you want is to not want than it is to line up with what you want. The reason is because you are convinced that you can't have what you want, which is not the nature of this universe. We do not need to make an enemy of desire. Desire in itself is not what is causing you to suffer. What is causing you to suffer is the fact that you don't think you can have what you want. What's causing you to suffer is that you don't think that you can live a satisfied life when the line of what you want keeps moving and moving and moving. Because it is true, when it comes to desire, there will always be more to desire. There is 2 ways of closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Step 1 is, I understand that the minute that I want something, it is. And the minute I line up with that, and start thinking myself into alignment with that, it must manifest in the physical reality. That gap is impossible to close the way I have described it if you think that you can't have what you want. The other way to close the gap is, I want the now. The minute you want the now, the gap closes and your higher self joins you where you are. So the best way to play life is to do both of these things. But I'm here to tell you today that you cannot stop wanting. It is the design of life itself for you to want, because wanting is what is causing the expansion of this universe. And even when you say, I want to be rid of desire, that is a desire in and of itself. So ease up about your wants. They will cease to torment you once it becomes okay that you will always give rise to new desires. Once it becomes okay that you will line up with them. Once joy becomes about the process of lining up with them. Your desires don't need to be your enemy anymore. You need to figure out what it is that you want, and understand that the minute that you want it, you can line up with it and you can have it and it will manifest. Want is not an enemy. Want is a super valuable tool to your life. So release resistance to it and go have fun finding out what it is.
the creaking floors, it's the white paint chipping off the doors. It's my heartbeat that never goes away. I wish I could be here every day. It's my soul that tells me who